Hi guys, it's me Jenny, and it's time for another session episode YouTube attempt at I'm Exci-tea-ed, in which I sit in my comfy chair and the microphone off my knee and probably create some horrible audio noise. Professional. And talk about something that has been absorbing my brain, and I'm excited about, and I want to talk about that perhaps one or two of my IRL friends, but very few of my IRL friends would want to listen to me rant about for as long as I want to rant about it, because I'm excited. Instead of doing it on Twitch, where I would be taking questions or reacting to chat or perhaps doing an activity, I just want to get the thoughts out of my brain and into the universe. And if you're interested in said thoughts, then you can hang out here. If you're not interested, then you click off the video. And it's my attempt to actually do things on YouTube, because YouTube is mostly unrewarding, but if it means that I can rant about something I'm excited about with no interruptions, then I'm going to do that. So hi. Today I'm going to be talking about the Resident Evil 4 remake. So my brief history of Resident Evil fandom. I started with the films, which in hindsight are kind of trash fires, but they are gateway drugs. I had a full-blown love for Mila Jovovich as a teen and like into my early 20s. Full-on obsession, starting with Lulu, and going into the Resident Evil films, which I caught on TV in various iterations. Then I watched the films, and then I got into the games via YouTube, via video game walkthroughs and playthroughs and commentaried, uncommentaried playthroughs. And over the course of not that long of a period, I watched every single Resident Evil walkthrough that is on the internet, which is every single Resident Evil game. I have watched every single Resident Evil game, including the remakes, the originals, in order, out of order. I've watched cutscene movies, I've watched full gameplay walkthroughs, I've watched all of it. And yeah, I really, really enjoy Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 being my favourite. I've talked about this in previous videos. I'm sure if you search my YouTube history, I've got over 1,000 videos on this channel, so I have no idea how hard or easy it is to find. But I have talked about how I really love the way that Resident Evil combines gothic imagery with modern paranoia, and how that kind of builds into itself, and then Resident Evil 4 being the peak of that, being both a gothic trope fest, but also still actually underneath it all is science, and that's kind of where the magic comes from, as well as being kind of campy but fun, scary but not overwhelming. And so the only Resident Evil game I've actually played has been Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 has been my favourite for a very, very long time. Resident Evil 5 didn't really click for me. Resident Evil 6 is kind of well known to be a little bit of the worst. And Resident Evil 7 was a return to form, but too scary for me to play, and I've always found first-person games to be not really my cup of tea. Resident Evil 7... oh, so close to Resident Evil 4 in terms of perfection, in terms of gothic imagery and story, with many similar beats. A lot of comparisons to be made between 4 and 8. So yeah, and then hopefully we'll get Resident Evil 9 at some point in the future. But yeah, that's my brief history of it. The only Resident Evil game I've actually played is Resident Evil 4. I started playing Resident Evil 4, I want to say, in 2012-ish. I'm trying to remember when, on my PC. And I got to the point in the castle where you were taking on the Wolverine Claw guy, and I got so scared I quit and never went back. And I completed it for the first time last Halloween. I adore Resident Evil 4. I think the chemistry between Ada and Leon is amazing. Ada is one of my favourite characters ever, in any media, but in video games she's definitely my favourite character. She embodies a lot of tropes and archetypes of female characters that I just genuinely I love it. I love her so much. And the chemistry between her and Leon in the Resident Evil 4 original is palpable. I've heard one of the complaints about the Resident Evil 4 remake now that it's come out is that chemistry is not quite there just because the voice acting or the voice direction wasn't perfect, which is a shame because I love her so much. But yes, I love Resident Evil 4. So I have watched the Resident Evil 4 gameplay so many times. It's literally been kind of a comfort thing for me. If I have nothing else to watch and I just want something to snuggle up on and watch, I might just put on a Resident Evil 4 walkthrough. It came a weird thing when I was ill. It's when I'm ill I will watch a Resident Evil 4 walkthrough or just any Resident Evil game walkthrough. 6, despite its flaws, and 5, despite its flaws, can be a fun time to watch. Will I ever play a Resident Evil game other than Resident Evil 4 original? I don't know. I'm a big flipping coward, and as much as I love the mythology, I get scared easily. As I said, playing Resident Evil 4 the first time around, I got too scared and quit for many years. So I am very torn about whether or not I'll ever play a Resident Evil game. If I were to, probably Resident Evil 8. But at the moment I do not have the hardware to run any of these games. So I don't know. To be brief, I don't know. I could play probably some of the old school games, but they're scary and I don't wanna. I might as well just watch them because that's less scary. But here we are. So having watched and enjoyed Resident Evil 4 for many years, gotten into the mythology, I was very excited when the first gameplay trailer came out and when the first demos started coming out on YouTube. So I've watched this demo walkthrough once. I'm now going to rewatch it with you guys so you can experience my reactions. As I said, I've only watched it once and that was about 3 weeks ago, in all honesty, because I am always out, like, past the point of fashionably late into unfashionably late. The actual game is out now and there is actually full gameplay footage for the whole game, but I'm thinking the Ada dress that I was going to make, that got redeemed as a community redemption last Halloween, and it is now very nearly April, a year later. I'm thinking maybe it might be a fun thing to do on stream, to watch the Resident Evil 4 remake while I make the Ada dress, watch a full walkthrough. Let me know if you guys would be interested in that, any of my Twitch folks, to make the dress while I watch the game. I don't know. But for now I'm just going to do a quick watch through of the 20-minute demo. I'll be watching Gamer's Little Playground recording, which is on YouTube at Gamer's Little Playground. I will put a link in the description and in the comment section. I don't know what the process of using other people's footage in your video actually entails, because I've never done it before. I'm doing something new. I'm trying. But Gamer's Little Playground, they're an amazing YouTube channel. They do wonderful HD, really good content for multiple games. They will go into details. They'll do cutscene breakdowns. They'll do breakdowns by character, breakdowns by scene, breakdowns by whatever. Really beautiful HD work. They have hundreds and hundreds of videos on their channel. Please do follow Gamer's Little Playground if you are interested in commentary-free video game content. Really love them. Really recommend them. And I hope that's enough that I don't get in trouble for watching them and reacting to them. So, hey, I'm mostly just reacting to the game itself, but as I am not playing the game, I want to give credit to the channel that I'm producing this from. Okay, we're going to go over to my game screen, and I've made the transaction nice and slow, so hopefully by the time you guys see, I will be in the correct place for you guys just to watch the video with me. Okay, let's do this. Bloop. Okay, and I'm just going to make sure we are on the best possible. Oh my gosh, you can go 4K. Okay, we're going to do this. Oh, actually, let me just quickly... Did I turn on... I did not turn on desktop audio. For all of that. This is what I get for streaming in 1K.
1998.
Okay.
It's a day I'll never forget.
So this clip's from the Resident Evil 2 remake.
Died that day. And that night, Raccoon City was wiped out. Thanks to the
So they've
bioweapons
rewritten a
created by
lot of
Umbrella.
the original prologue stuff.
Somehow I made it out, but too many others weren't
And
so
I
lucky.
appreciate they made Leon a little bit more cynical.
I was asked later
One
to
sec,
join
we're just going to pause because I need to discuss some of this. I need to discuss some of this script adjustments. So the cop inside me died that day. That's a new line as far as I'm aware from what I remember the original Resident Evil 4 prologue. I like the idea that Leon is like, nah, I'm done. And part of the underlying themes of Resident Evil for the entire thing is the concept that the actual Resident Evil is the government or mass pharmaceuticals or like huge companies and Fortune 500. Like that's the evil in residence, not necessarily like the virus itself is not an evil. The evil is what has been allowed to happen. And so little things like I was asked later to join a top secret organized government program. That's like there was never really the implication that him joining the top secret and becoming top secret government agency and becoming an agent was like it kind of gave the impression that he was just like doing the Leon thing, like trying to be a hero, making the best, trying to help people. This implies that it was something he was forced into, which makes sense. It makes sense for the government of the Resident Evil universe. Any survivors of the Raccoon City incident are like the ultimate badasses of this universe. They are skilled survivals and they also know top secret government things. So having your enemies close, having them, you know, work for you instead of working against you is just smart. And also shady as fudge, and also again just it's very subtle writing differences between the original and this remake that kind of it modernizes in a very subtle way, but I think if you want to read into it like I'm going to read into it, this is something that I read into.
top secret government program. Not that I had a choice.
Exactly. Like
The training, punishing missions, nearly killed me.
and we got
At least it
Krauser
kept
from
my
Early
mind off
Doors.
everything.
Keeps
If I could
reminding
just
us of
forget what happened that night.
yeah, he's so traumatized.
Pain, even for a second. This time, it can be different.
I'm just
It has to.
gonna super quickly just make sure there we go. I'm just putting the desktop audio down quite a bit so you guys can hear me. There we go. It's been 6 years since Leon Erskine leave private raccoons to do it on President Ballard, blah blah blah. Yeah, it is what it is. So, oh my gosh, so much of this is so faithfully recreated, but I also like that they're reusing assets from both Resident Evil 8 and I think a couple from Resident Evil 7 as well. So the fact you've got the barbed wire to go over, it doesn't have the. I mean, this is the demo, so I'm sure there'll be different things in the actual gameplay that I haven't seen yet. When I decided I was going to do this as a video, I decided not to rewatch or watch any of the things. So I'm this is my second time watching this, and this is the only thing I've watched other than the trailers. The thing that I realised that I can't remember if I've realised this before. I feel like this is a revelation I've had before, and then I'm having it again. Is the X signs that are part of the village of Resident Evil 4, they're pluggers. How did I not realize this before? All of these X signs that are like hanging up, they are very limited versions of plaga symbology, which makes sense because it's kind of like a religion for the people of this town, which is amazing. And it's really subtle, and I feel like I've had this revelation before. Resident Evil Revelations, that's a game that kind of is interesting. I feel like I've had this revelation before, but I feel like it's worth me pointing out again because I feel like I thought it again. So this is the same creepy manor. This is obviously a lot bigger than the original shack. The original shack in the Judgment is nigh. The original shack in the first house that you enter in Resident Evil 4 original was much smaller. It was literally, I think, one kitchen and then you couldn't go upstairs. So this is much larger. It's got some winding corridors, it's got multiple rooms. I like that the Plaga symbol is creating a shadow on the, or is that painted? It's painted. Like, just, it's really cool. It's, like, the designs are really cool. It's really creepy. The ambient audio, it's good and it's bad. It's good that it's bad, and it's bad that it's this good, because, oh, I don't know if I could experience this actually playing it. Leon's hair, though. Oh, creepy. Okay.
Sorry to barge in like this.
So the fact that Leon apologizes as well, rather than just shoving the photo in his face, really good. And also, Leon learnt Spanish, which is so in keeping with Leon's character, because Leon is a very empathetic person who tries his best, and it makes so much more sense that he would be trying to speak Spanish to the locals rather than just, you know, yelling at them. Like it makes me really, really like Leon, the fact that he learnt Spanish before going to this place. And we got the axe. I think apparently there's like knife parrying systems in this game, so it makes sense that we get the thing, and we get a kick rather than a flippity boo. And that neck snap, oof, really, really creepy. And very much kind of, it seems like much more of an accidental kill. Like, that seemed like a self-defense accidental kill rather than the original. I think the original, I feel like, when he killed this guy, it was much more of a, like, yeah, I killed that guy. And this seems like, oh shit, I'm out of my depth. Which, again, it just makes me really appreciate Leon as kind of the out-of-depth hero that he is. I love Leon. And I'm really glad that they did his hair justice. Also, the plug symbols, the nails, creepy as fudge. And, like, all the hanging ropes. Oh, Hunter's Lodge is creepy. I keep getting into this instead of commentating. Ugh, so good. Oh.
Rich, what's your situation?
So originally, one of the guys ended up in the village, and the other guy, I think, ended up in the car, and the car went off the cliff. I can't remember. The two police officers that were escorting him. I wonder if, like, obviously this is the demo rather than the full gameplay, so I do wonder. Oh my god, that's so creepy. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. Oh. Oh, the sound effects. Oh, that's so gross. I do appreciate the fact that, like, the original Resident Evil 4 was really, like, groundbreaking in how it had, like, the plaga infected villagers, like, react to, like, where they're shot. So if they're shot in the knee, they react by, like, grabbing their leg. If they shot in the shoulder, they react like that. If they get shot in the head, they, like, react like that. And they of course can block bullets and stuff. So I've heard that this game, like, turns that up to a T. Oh, I hate this. I hate this so much. It's just like Jack Baker. Oh no. Oh no. Sorry for the sneezies. One shot, one take. How am I doing on YouTube? I like the fact that there's more phrases as well. There's been more recorded dialogue for the Plaga Infected. I do wish I spoke any Spanish, but they still have the classic line. And you got knife kills, good, 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 and kicking, all good, all good, all good. So I like the fact that the Plaga Infected are much kind of, the hints at the Plaga Infected is much early doors. So, like, the guy with the broken neck, he had, like, tentacles sticking out of his skull, like little kind of feelers. So you can kind of get a hint about what's coming if you know, but if you don't know, it's very subtle. I like how they've modernized quite a few things. So, like, even though it's still set in the same time period, like, we have Baby Eagle, we have, like, good code names. I love Hannigan. Um,
Copy that. I'll see what I can find. Hurry up. Something's happened to people here. My escorts.
Hannigan's just really cool. But, like, there's still a reasonable amount of cheesy going on. But they do also, like, please, yes! Even though in the original one it's out the ground floor, this is on the second floor, but it's still part of the thing. It's great. It's great. Love it. Love the window smash roll. Iconic. Iconic opening. So good. Ah! But yeah, like, subtle, like, even though they've got the cheesy lines, they have updated some of the things to make it slightly more kind of believable. And I kind of enjoyed the fact that, so one of the things that I think is coming up shortly is how I played Resident Evil 4, because I am a flipping coward, as discussed, is I spent a lot of time slowly kiting, like sneaking my way, walking very slowly around the outside of various locations, so I wouldn't trigger any aggression from people. So I don't think that's how you're technically meant to play Resident Evil 4 original. You're not. You're meant to kind of sort of go in guns blazing a little bit. And you know, I think a lot of people did do that, but then basically I'd try and take out as many enemies as I possibly could, one at a time, only triggering one enemy at a time, rather than going in guns blazing. And that worked for me because I'm a coward. While with this particular game, they bring in stealth dynamics, which basically takes all of the stuff that I was doing anyway and puts a real kind of reason behind it, because obviously he is infiltrating the cap. And they killed the dog! They killed the flipping dog! I can't believe they did this! I can't believe they killed the freaking dog! I'm hoping this is just a demo thing, or maybe the dog will come back in a different capacity later on, but they killed the dog! Why would they do that? Why? That dog is a safety net, and I do not want it to be sad. So I'm hoping this is either a demo thing, or the dog will come back in a different capacity in a different part of the game. Because, like, the dog was like that little kind of small light in this very sad part of the village. Although I will say, like, the colours in this remake so far, like, I feel like the original, at this point in the game, where it was still daylight, but you were just entering the village, was very grey. It was kind of, had sort of like an ambient, oh no, it had like an ambient kind of grey misty fog, so even though it was daylight, it was quite gloomy. I feel like this is like, the colours are really nice. Yeah. Anyway. I hope the dog comes back. I hope the dog comes back. And also, hey, Bear Trap's still in there. I hated them. Yeah, Bear Traps suck. But yeah, I do appreciate the fact that oh, there's a jump scare coming up. Don't like that dude. I do appreciate that basically they've added modern stealth mechanics to the game, which makes sense, that the fact that Leon's meant to be kind of an infiltrator, a trained spy, it kind of adds more of a spy aspect to it than the original game. The original game kind of felt like a kind of lone bounty hunter going in and kind of, you know, killing everyone and rescuing the girl. While this version, just by the nature of adding stealth mechanics, the nature of having Leon kind of coming in and speaking Spanish, and you know, just little things make it seem more like he's a sneaky spy, who has been trained to be a sneaky spy and get in and get out as quickly as possible. Which I don't know whether or not that's the full intention of the game going forward or the gameplay updates, but that's how I'm reading it from this demo. Again, all I've seen of this game is this demo, this particular walkthrough of this demo, and the trailers. Now, this is an iconic moment, although in the original, this guy was already dead. So the fact that he's alive and screaming is awful. I feel like the guy was already dead. Maybe I'm misremembering, but I feel like the guy was already dead in the original. They didn't actually burn him alive. Live. So at this point in the original game, I would sneak around the outside and not trigger anyone and slowly kill them one by one if I could with, you know, as few bullets as possible. And now we have this crouch and stealth mechanic, which I feel like just informs the original gameplay, but also modernizing it quite considerably. And again, it also informs the story, and I just really like it. Green herb! I'm assuming you can do the three-way combo, like you would do with the original. I think most of the inventory seems to be equivalent. And in fact, I think they're even starting with the same inventory. They even have the same design of the bullet packets. Oh, yes. Yes. Okay. Lovingly made. Lovingly remade. I love it. And the village design is still the same, which I appreciate. You've got the barn, then you've got this house. I do notice in this particular demo walkthrough that I've seen, he doesn't seem to go into the building, so I don't know whether or not you can do the same technique that you could do with the original, where you, when the chainsaw is triggered, you can go into the house he's just behind of right now, and you can barricade the door, which gives you a little bit of extra time, and then you can go into the next room, and then you can go out through the roof and out through the window. And then also on the other side, there's another room which you can go into, which you can barricade, and you have a closed room. But then because they have to open the door, you have kind of waiting, you have like trigger time. So you have the time it takes for them to enter and close the building. So you have that kind of tunneling the enemies, which I found really, really useful. The only way I got through Resident Evil 4, the original, was to put my back against the wall and try and shoot groups as they came towards me. Rather than having enemies coming from all sides, because it's scary. So yeah, like this little pathway is a perfect crutch spot, so you can put your back against the top fence and just kind of shoot or grenade people as they come down. And then once the chainsaw is happening, you can go into the buildings and kind of use them as defensible lay points. And I really enjoy that aspect of this game, where you can go somewhat sneaky, or you can do defensible lay points. I do appreciate like the audio design of the flashbangs. I don't remember that from the original, where you have the audio wipe out during the flashbangs. I would be interested to know how much Leon might or might not be affected by his grenades. I can't remember if like using grenades in close quarters does damage to yourself in the original. I might have to replay the original now. I really want to. It's not even close to Halloween. I do enjoy the different oh god, that's gnarly. Look at the sickles and the weapons. And look, we have Cowie! Cowie is back in exactly the same place as before! Hey, Cow! Yeah, so I don't think in this gameplay he goes into any of the houses, which is a shame, because I would have liked to see how much they are redesigned. I really enjoyed the treasure hunting aspect of Resident Evil 4 Original, because it gave me like that brief pause between these sort of encounters, when you can basically just go around and be like, I'm going to find this jewel, I'm going to shoot this target, and as long as you're not triggering new enemies, you kind of can wander around doing your own thing, and I really liked that about the original Resident Evil 4. We have Chainsaw Guy, which I knew that his eyes were weird in the original, but this is like whole other levels of like what the fuckery with their eyeballs in the sack like that, where they're like clearly not in the right places and missing lids, and oh no, I appreciate that you still got the reaching for you and grabbing you thing from previous Resident Evil 4. I really enjoyed the updated graphics as well. Oh no, And you can still kite. Like Resident Evil 4, the original Resident Evil games generally, but I will say particularly like the early Resident Evils really did master the original act of kiting. I also find that really terrifying. The fact that they made that collapsible. That was always like a nice harbor, that tower, where you could go up there and kind of shoot as people came up. I don't remember that being destroyable, and I don't like it. I like it. It's a nice touch. I don't like the fact that if I were to play this game, I can't hide up that tower and just be like, one person at a time, please, line up. Leon will see you now. Oh, God. Like, I like this is like the early game. This shouldn't be like freaking me out as much as it is. I really like Leon's coat has been masterly recreated along with his hair. Iconic moments through and through. You've got to be kidding me. Oh, I've just noticed that the stake which the police officer was burnt upon is also in the shape of a plaga. Oh, I hope the cow got out okay. Was the barn set on fire in the original? I feel like we have more like active fire effects than before. Oh, give me that line. Are we still gonna have the line? I've already watched this, so I know there is that line, and I will say, without any point of irony, first time I watched this, at the point where he said this line, I audibly, alone in my house, without recording anything, was like, yes! Because it's so important to the tone of this game for Leon to be a little bit of a goof. Oh, he's so creepy, I hate it.
Where's everyone going? Bingo?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh my god. Ah. Anyway, thank you, Gamers Little Playground. Again, check out the link in the description for all of that doodads, and we'll fade across back to my big face. Hello. Hi. So yeah, I'm just gonna pause that outro on that video. So yeah, that's my reaction to the Resident Evil 4 demo. I'm very excited to watch the full thing. If you guys are interested in me watching it on stream, I think I might, unless you guys seem to have no interest in it at all. It seems like so much of it is being carefully updated in a way that's not obtrusive but does add layers and adds modern gameplay to what you would have done historically. The village and the village characters and the village costumes, the chickens and the cow and the layout are all kind of perfectly recreated but also just slightly tweaked, which I love so far. From what I've heard of the people who've played the full game and general reviews, the general kind of consensus of failures, rather than it being just perfect, is like Ada's voice acting or voice direction being not great, which makes me very, very sad. So far, I have seen no evidence of Ada's iconic red dress from that particular game, which I love that dress. And again, reading into people, I've talked about this before on stream and possibly in other Resident Evil videos on YouTube, but the Resident Evil 4 dress for Ada, for me, is so important and so telling of her character that she would turn up to a combat scenario wearing an evening gown and it doesn't even faze her. That to me is so desperately important to her character and so interesting and kind of adds layers to what has already been established, that if they don't at least put it as an alternative skin, I will be seriously disappointed. Seriously. Not just if the voice acting and the chemistry between her and Leon is lacking because the voice acting is lacking, but if they don't at least include some version of that dress, oh boy, I will be peeved. Yeah, so I'm hoping that that will come along, or by the time I have upgraded my technology enough to maybe play the Resident Evil 4 remake, if ever I have the courage to play the Resident Evil 4 remake, that maybe there's a mod available. That would be one thing that I will be very willing to have someone who's more technologically able to show me how to apply a Ada 4 Resident Evil 4 original dress to the Resident Evil 4 remake, because I feel like that's important. I feel like her dress is important. Making her being put in practical clothes just feels like a detriment to her character. But yes, I think that's the only thing I've heard of that's not as good as the original. But even the fact that the inventory is the same as when you started the original, the layouts, the costumes, like all of the details so far, as well as taking the iconic and important script elements but updating it to make it just slightly less cheesy, I really enjoyed it, and I wanted to talk about it, and I wanted to react to it and talk about the things that I saw visually as we went through. Deeply creepy. Some of the parts are deeply creepy, like the little spasms that the plague-infected visitors do. Ooh, no. Ganados. I should just call them Ganados. Anyway, thank you for hanging out. I don't know what I'll do for my next I Am Exci-tea-ed. If I choose to do another I Am Exci-tea-ed. I don't know if you guys are enjoying the series at all. Potentially, maybe on D&D. I'm hoping to go back to playing TTRPGs soon. I'm very nervous. I am potentially joining a pretty far along pre-established game. So I am very nervous to see how I fit into a pre-existing team dynamic in a homebrew world. So there's a lot of information that I will be completely blind to going into. And also I am very nervous that when I'm excited about something, I'm going to talk my booty off to a bunch of people who I've not played TTRPGs with before. So I want to make sure that I'm not being standoffish, but also not hogging the table, because I'm like, I have not played a TTRPG for 3 years. So we'll see. Maybe that'll be my Exci-tea-ed next video, but I don't know. If you guys are enjoying this, let me know. I probably won't be taking suggestions, because it's got to be things that I'm naturally just like, oh my gosh, my brain is absorbed by this content. But I am trying to do more stuff on YouTube, and sticking to my traditional, I just talk until I turn off the camera, because editing is something that does not interest me, and if it does not interest me, I will not do it, because I'm lazy. And I do not have time between work, sleep, and procrastinating on things I ought to be doing. So yeah. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. If you guys are watching my YouTube channel and not watching my Twitch, please watch my Twitch. That's where I do the vast majority of my online content. Yeah, I will maybe see you soon, either there or here. Who knows? Bye for now. Bloop.